Johnny Depp's most heartbreaking and painful point that captured forever. Life has a way of shaping us through moments of beauty, triumph, and love, but often it is the painful scares that remain etched deepest into the soul. For Johnny Depp, a man who has lived both under the brighter glare of the Hollywood spotlight and suffocating shadow of the personal turmoil, the journey has not been an easy one. Known to the millions as an extraordinary actor, a musician, and a cultural icon, Johnny Depp's life has been filled with the unforgettable highs, yet beneath the glamour and the applause lies a chapter of the heartbreak that has marked him forever. A painful point so deep he will never forget in the entire life. A man who lived in the stories but trapped by his own, Depp has always drawn to the character who carry the brokenness, outsider whose inner world are both haunting and poetic. From the Edward Scissorhands to the Captain Jack Sparrow, he has embodied souls struggling to find love and meaning. In many ways, these roles mirrored his own life behind his artistic brilliance, and there are always a man who longed for the connection, stability, and the love. But fate even tests for the most sensitive spirits the hardest. For Depp, the most heartbreaking and painful point came from not from the single career setback, nor from the fleeting nature of the fame, but from the collapse of the trust, love, and identity during the turbulent years of the relationship and its bitter aftermath. The collapse of the love and the public trial of his soul. What cuts deepest into the Johnny Depp's heart is not merely the breakup of a relationship, but the devastation that followed a love once cherished, twisted into the battlefield of the accusations and the public humiliation. What he endured during those years was not just the heartbreaking, but the betrayal on the level that few could imagine only. The man who once built his world around the ideas of the loyalty and the devotion suddenly found himself painted as something he knew he was not. The endless court battles, the tabloid storms, and the constant scrutiny pushed him into the corner. His personal life was no longer his own. It is consumed by the headlines, memes, and the judgments from the strangers across the globe. This was not just about losing love, it was about losing the trust in the humanity, losing faith in the fairness of the life, and watching the world's doubt his very essence. The loneliness that followed, the aftermath of the such turmoil is not the merely external. For Johnny Depp, the painful points was the loneliness that followed him for everywhere. Friends and the colleagues stood divided. The opportunities he had worked decades to earn began to the crumble. The man who once filled theaters with the laughter, magic, and the adventures was suddenly cast into the shadows of the uncertainty. But perhaps the most haunting part of the Johnny Depp was the silence after the storms, the nights where the noise of the world faded and he was left alone with his own thoughts. It was in those quiet hours when fame could no longer mask the edge that the real pain surfaced, the kind of pain that whispers, "Will I ever be truly understood again?" A wound that will never fully heal. There are the moments in the everybody's personal life that creates the scares which never completely fade. For the Johnny Depp, the betrayal and the heartbreak he endured will remain such a wound. It was not just about the loss of the love, but about the trust broken, but about the identity questioned, and about the dignity challenged in front of the entire world. Even though he has stood strong, defended himself, and reclaimed parts of his life, the truth is that the chapter will never leave him. It is carved into the memory, forever reminding him for how fragile happiness can be. Why this pain cut so deep? Depp is not just another actor. He is a man who wears his heart on his sleeve. He loved with intensity, trusted with the abandon, and gave his life to those he cared for. When the love betrayed him, it was not simply a breakup. It was the collapse of the every foundation of his soul. Unlike the roles he could walk away after the filming, this was a script written in the real life. And unlike the characters he could shed, his heartbreak became a permanent part of who he is. Moving forward but never forgetting, Johnny Depp continues to create, perform, and to live. He has learned to carry his pain with a grace, to transform in the art, and find the strength in those who will still believe in him. Yet, even in his simplies and plays his guitar or stands before the cinema and the camera to shadows, the heartbreak lingers in his eyes. The truth is, the pain of such magnitude is not something only and one simply overcomes, it is a something one learns to live with. It changes you forever, it makes you more fragile, yet strangely and strongly, it becomes both your course and your teacher. For the Johnny Depp, the most heartbreaking and the painful point in his life always remain a reminder that love, while beautiful, can also be devastating, that trust, once shattered, leaves cracks no fame, fortune, and applause can ever truly fill. The legacy of his pain, what makes his moment unforgettable is not just his impact on the Depp's personality, but the way it revealed the vulnerability of even the strongest souls. Millions watched him fall, struggle, and rise again. In that this pain became the universal, his heartbreak echoed the stories of the countless others who have felt the betrayed, abandoned, and misunderstood. Johnny Depp may never fully heal from the wound. It is the most heartbreaking point that the one can capture him forever, the one memory that will haunt him until the end of his days. Yet perhaps it's carrying. He also carries the reminder that would world that can never broke in the tears, can still be with the resilience, but even scared souls can still create the beauty. So guys, if you found this video as entertaining, then you have to subscribe the channel, and I wish you best of luck.